everybody. Uh-oh, and I'm still feeling the music.
I don't have the choreography tonight.
It's feeling.
Tony Basil didn't hit my address today. She didn't give me my steps.
Hey, Phil, how you doing?
I'm all right. How you feeling, Iona? How
I'm
you feeling?
good. Hello there, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Hello, everyone. Quentin Williams is the first one live here. I'm telling
On the spot.
on the spot. Oh boy, how was your week, handsome?
It has been wild. I hope people can see this. In the University of Indiana, Indiana University, if I could speak, shirt, golf shirt, which I got last year. They're having another golf tournament this next week in Bloomington. I am gonna go fly
Awesome.
in to support them. They're raising money for the name, image, and likeness that they need to come up with for their athletes. So there's a lot of fundraising going on behind that, and this is one of their fundraisers. I did it last year, and I love it. It's my daughter Rachel and her guy Kevin Hodge and head coach Steve Aird put it on, and I paid for a foursome. I got another hitter going in. We going in deep. We going hard. My buddy Mark Rubin is coming. Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. We went to the range yesterday, and it was like the old days. It's like he's behind me telling me about my stroke, and okay, make sure you get a full shoulder turn, set on your back foot. Just make sure you're in your shoulders, not in your arms. Get that thing, martini glass. Don't make. Oh, I don't know. It was great. It was great. Oh, great. I felt like a golfer again, and I haven't been a golfer in a long time. And I want to talk about that with our guest that's coming on too, because we were talking about it a little bit, and he knows exactly what I'll be saying. My driver was gone. I haven't played in forever. Literally, the last time I played golf was a year ago at their tournament. So,
Oh
we'll
wow.
see how it all goes. And golf isn't that kind of game. You can't just pick it up and go, I got this. Oh, hell to the no. It is a mind game on the highest level. And you got to have, number one, your mind right. And I think I have that right. I think I'm going to be going in there with a good attitude. And then, just let the golf gods tell you what they're going to do. You know
Come
what I
on,
mean?
Phil. That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Because you can have it all dialed in, and then you wake up and everything's going left. You're like, why is everything going left? Yesterday I was at the range. It was beautiful down the straight, and it's going left. The golf gods say, today, you going left today. So that's what I mean. And our guest will totally understand. He's probably laughing right now at me. But yeah, that's going to be wonderful. Can't wait to do that. And then so much, man. This is how my week was. I give a real microcosm. Carla, my wife, and I are at the park with our dog, playing, ball with the dogs. Fun. And the park's amazing. It's got geese and turtles and everything. And there's this little tortoise that's so far away from the water on the cement wall. I mean, like a good quarter of a mile from the water. I mean, he's like, and he's getting it. He's trying to get to the water.
Yeah.
But I just I can't take that this little dude is going to be on this hot pavement for this long. So I go over and I gently pick him up, and he hides everything into the shell. I walk him all the way to the water. I put him right where the other turtles are. I back up real slow, and he kind of pokes his head out, looks around, and drops right into the water. And I almost start crying.
I know.
I'm a resource for all people and all animals. So,
You saved that sweet little tortoise.
Oh man, didn't get his number or anything. I don't know if he'll recognize me or remember me, but
Well, you recognize him amongst all the other ones who were there.
So that was how my week was. It's a very, very sweet week so far.
Oh, I love it, Phil. That's
And
great.
you, how's everything with the show? Congratulations on the opening. I went to the opening of the show. It's wonderful. Your actors are totally committed and immersed, and one of them is just a powerhouse. So people, if you're in the area, live in Los Angeles, go to the Greenway Court Theater, check this show out. Your girl Iona directed her butt off. It's beautifully directed and staged, so check it out.
Thanks, honey. Thanks, honey. I was very excited that we finally opened. It was wonderful. Sherry Belafonte was there our first night, which was out
Our
of
girl Sherry.
sight to have Sherry there. That was great. And hoping more of the family comes out as well as Sidney Poitier's family. And this, I think this is just the first iteration of the play. We've only got
Mm.
four more performances, and thank you for all the congrats, you guys. And it's going to come back and have a run. I know it is because what the writer has done, which he did, it's so interesting. You never know. He wrote this 11 years ago.
Mm.
Timely 11 years ago. It is so profound and timely right now, isn't it? And you just never know. That's why when we're talking about making your vision possible, you guys, you have your mind on when you want to get something done. I believe in the creative gods. They're going to tell you when it needs to be done.
I just told you about
Right?
the golf guys. You're going
That's
left,
what I'm
going
talking
left.
about. That's what I'm talking about.
Come on, come on,
You got to
come
pay
on.
attention to the energy, to the synergy around you. You might say, I need to get this done in 2 months. I need to get this done next year. And then all of a sudden you're looking and you're like, oh my God, it's 5 years, 10 years later, and I'm finally doing it. And it's the perfect time. We just got to support whatever creativity we're into. Remember, we
Hmm.
got actors, singers, and directors and everything else, and writers. But don't forget, if you're working in an office, that's creative. Every time you wake up and breathe, you're being creative because we create in life.
Come on now. So you're saying I
Right?
got a shot?
I'm
Come
saying
on,
you
you
got a
saying I
shot. I
got a
love it. I
shot?
love it. You
I'm
got a
in the
shot.
game.
And I'm just
We
that's
we
what
crazy tonight, yo. You better tell your friends to get in on this because this is something special tonight.
I'm
I can
telling you.
feel it.
And this guest we have, whoo,
Maybe
electrifying.
that's why.
Maybe
Bringing
that's
a
what
lot of
it is.
vibe. Bringing a lot of vibe,
It's
man.
the energy. It in that case, you know what I should do, Phil?
I do. I
I
know where
should
you're
pl-
leading.
I should play that lead-in video and bring him in, and this is our guest
I hear
tonight.
what you're putting down.
And there he is, the fabulous, the dynamic Richard. I'm a bad mother. Shut your mouth, Lawson.
Here we go. Are you
Hey,
muted? I want to unmute him
wait.
because
He's
I
muted.
can't hear
Oh,
him.
he's got himself muted. Unmute yourself.
I'm muted. I'm muted. I'm muted. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's
That was
all
a hell
right.
of an
No,
opening there. That's a great intro. Great
I'm saying
intro.
that's all the
Oh my
time we have, everybody. Richard, it's wonderful to have you. You were terrific tonight. Oh, go see him.
Hey, that intro was so long. It's like driving into town. It says, "Welcome to Bunksville. Have a nice day."
That's a nice day. You are leaving, folks. Man, what
And
a beautiful career you had. What a wonderful journey. What a great multiplicity of things you have been
mhm.
involved in, man.
And that's just
Congratulations,
a
really.
Thank you so much.
thimbleful of his fabulous work.
Yeah, it's like the one thing I have to be grateful for is that I've been in this business for 56 years and and I have been on vacation the entire time.
Mm, mm,
Mm.
This
mm.
is this is, this is I love this. I love what I do and I love my assignment. I'm on assignment. This is my purpose and I'm
Yes.
just obeying orders.
Mm, mm,
So
mm. And
wonderfully
so
well, too.
56 years. So
Thank
so
you.
where did you grow? Where did this start? Where did the
Hmm.
burning hunger, desire to go, I want to do that, come from?
Well, it's funny because when I was growing up, I had a single mother. My mother was single from the time I was 6. And it was really about just trying to survive. She worked 16 hours a day on two different jobs. And so I was very much the um, custodial parent. And so I was a surrogate father, surrogate uh, husband, so to speak. And so it was really about the grind, you know. And then I went to college, dropped out to go into business, went into service, went to Vietnam, came back from Vietnam, got
Mm.
out 3 months early, and um, so I said, well, I'm going to be a lawyer. And because I got out of college early to go to school, I mean, got out of Army 3 months early to go to school, it was a junior college. And so there was
Mm.
really nothing law related there. So I figured, well, I'm going to go to debate. I'll debate, and that'll give me experience of, arguing a case. While I was in the speech department, this woman, Dr. Barbara Murtis, asked me, she liked my voice, and she asked me would I be part of her readers theater. And I said, yeah. And so that experience turned me on to performing and being in front of an audience. And
Right.
I got a great response. And then the drama coach, who I joined her forensics team, and then I was undefeated and became state champion. And then the drama coach asked me, would I do a musical? Would I be interested in acting and doing a musical? So they were doing a musical Golden Boy that Sammy Davis did on Broadway. And I said, why not? And so I learned to sing, dance, and act as best as I could in a few weeks of rehearsal. And it was in the middle on my birthday, 1970, that I had a revelation right in the in the final song. I had an epiphany,
Mm.
like I was spoken to, and I realized that this is what I was put on this earth to do. And so from that moment to this one right here, I have been on my purpose and I've been on vacation.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Mm.
That so reminds me of our dad, Phil, because he was in radio, and someone in the a doctor. Do you remember Hyman? Was it from the
Paul Paul
Paul
Heinberg.
Paul Heinberg, right, from the drama department, liked his voice and said, "Do you want to audition for this play, Anna Lacoste?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know." And
Oh,
the rest is history. It takes sometimes people for us to come to us to invite us to the party, and
Well,
then we
even
right,
deeper
go.
than that,
right.
I think that's the second chapter. But I think what's initially interesting that I related to our father was the single mother.
Mm,
Her
mm,
father had a single
mm,
mother who worked many
Oh,
jobs, who was a very independent woman at the
yeah,
time, owned her own drugstore in New York City, first woman to own her own business in New York City.
mm-hmm.
Very strong woman.
wow.
He grew up by himself, so again, he was a bit of a surrogate husband, surrogate, you know what I mean? So that gave him the impetus to imagine, to keep himself company, to keep himself alive, to survive, to develop skills and coping mechanisms that when you have both parents, you don't need to develop. And so that really resonated with me when you said that you were a child of a single mother. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
it was Paul who was Dad's communications coach, and said that you have such a great voice, like you do. It's very similar. I mean, it's really eerily
Thank
similar, the
you.
bridges that you're building. And then the other thing that really struck me was that you started in a musical, which is exactly what I did. I didn't have any formal
Really?
training. I just was like, let's go. And it's a musical that had Broadway performers, Jeff Conaway, Adrian Zmed. I mean, really brilliant Broadway talents. And I was not. I was 17 years old. And I just went, I could do
Yeah.
that. I got that in
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
good on you, bro.
Yeah. Listen, it's been a long, wonderful, wonderful journey. And it's really great because in a sense that, we are as we have the gift of art. And art is the one thing that can change the world in a
Mhm.
sentence, in a reaction, in a comment, in a line. It can change the world. It's the only thing that can do that. Politics can't do that. No other form of anything can do that because it's a ministry of sorts. And and when you are about trying to create something and trying to make the world a better place and trying to create a character that is dimensional, is uh, is uh, um, is conflicted, is not perfect, and you're trying to work your way through the aspect of trying to create this human being that people can relate to, and so that some people will be able to understand the journey, that it may make a difference in someone's life. You know, let
It
me just say
resonates.
this. So it resonates. Um, when I first got into the business in 69, 70, um, the industry looked at us as black actors, not actors who happen to be black, but black actors. So we were a diversity group. And I understood very early on that I needed to go out and make things happen rather than waiting on whatever to be chosen. If I wanted it, I needed to go get it. And in the process, I really understood the way that they looked at actors. Teachers, doctors, lawyers were at the top of the food chain, and they were highly respected and highly considered. And actors was they looked at as something really frivolous.
Hmm.
And what through my study and through the people that I was mentored by, I really understood that I had a higher calling. And I understood that when I when I looked at it, I said, what am I doing? This is actually anthropology. Anthropology. It is the study of the cultural, the behavioral, the social, the emotional, the spiritual aspect of man.
Hmm.
And we do it systematically. So I am a behavioral scientist. I'm a behavioral anthropologist. And that's the characters and the depth of the characters that I create so that I can touch people and make people think, and so they can see themselves or part of themselves. So it's a higher calling than just being a performer. It's being a scientist.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Being a shaman in many ways too, the information that we share, we so much mirror society, and oftentimes our characters will give a different look as to a situation that has come up. We can write something about the political situation that's even going on right now, make it funny and humorous at the same time. Aha moments. It's a very important time for the artist, especially right now, but we can look at other times in history where that was the case as well. And that's so interesting that
Yes.
you think in that respect of being an anthropologist of behavior. And
Well,
that
That's
is what
right.
we do, right? Because we're always studying people.
yes. How do they walk? How do they talk? How do
Yeah.
they breathe?
Mhm.
What shoes do they wear? When we talk about art and what art does and brings to the society, the reason why it is so valuable is because it crosses the lines that politics, religion, and culture create.
Mm.
So what art does is do away with those dividing lines. It speaks to us as
Right.
humans. If you take all of us
Right.
and put us in, and you're a Buddhist and you're a Christian and you're a Muslim and you're a Hindu, The thing that unites us is the fact that you're all human. And what
Mhm.
art does is talk to that. It speaks to that
That's right.
universality, as opposed to divide
That's right.
us into segmented agenda groups. So
Right.
whether it's music or theater or painting, it it goes beyond the word. It goes beyond the thought. It goes into the heart, the spirit, the mind, the gut, and we all have those things. And when it hits us like that, you cannot deny it. You can't will it away.
No, you
And
can't.
Mhm.
best to
No.
accept it
Mhm.
and take the ride.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
important.
You know, my experience in Vietnam as a combat medic, because I was the only one that actually touched. It was like, hey, let me see that hand. Man, you haven't been taking care of this. I stitched this up last week. It's a little infected. Let me take care of it. And so the sense of touch
Mm.
opened up the vista of communication because that
Mm,
touch, people wanted to talk. People wanted to share what was going on back home. And because we were in this highly uh, uh, physically dangerous environment, that we needed each other. And it was so interesting to see that the brother from Brooklyn and the Latino from that was in Texas, and the Asian from San Francisco, and from people that were from all walks of life and all different colors, all those things went away. And then because we knew that we had to unite and become one, I had to have their back, they had to have mine. And that stuff went away in my unit. And it was so interesting
Mm.
that while we were there, there was a brotherhood. But when we came back to the States, there was the pull of wherever they came from, and their gang and their group and their tribe pulled them back in
mm,
to whatever they left.
mm.
And what it did show me was the possibility of human connection when we get rid of the considerations.
How do we
Mm.
carry that with us? How do we carry
Mm.
that core essential connection with us when we come back from difficulty? Because the difficulty creates the unity. How do we maintain that when there are times of ease and peace? Why do we continue to divide each other as opposed to unite each other? How do we continue this? I was talking with my wife today about the pure living theory versus theoretical living. I want to be in pure living. And she said that, well, in certain situations you can. I go, no. If it's pure living, I want to purely live no matter what the situation.
Mhm.
Because if I
Right,
fall into that
right,
theoretical living, then the considerations and the agenda of the world overwhelm my mind. I know this is a very nuanced conversation, but and then it's difficult for me to understand the reality. In the pure living, which is what you're talking about, Richard, when you're in those situations, which I don't know that situation, but it seems as though that's an essential place that if you're not living purely, you're dead, or you lose a limb,
right, right,
or you lose a
Mm.
friend.
right.
There's no
Mhm.
theory. There's
Yes,
just do or don't
Mm-mm.
do.
yes,
I'm a martial artist, and
yes.
I came from a school where we didn't have belts, sashes, certificates, nothing. You are or you aren't. You can or you can't. You do or you don't. You will or you won't. Period. What you say means nothing. What you do
Mm.
means everything. Who you are
What you
means
do means
everything.
That's
everything.
right.
Our
Lis-
coach used to say,
Listen,
"Behavior begets." So yeah, this is what we all need to hear, man.
look, and that's where art comes in, I think, because the fact that you live your life, you do your thing, and you out there in the world, and you're trying to survive, and you're trying to do, and you got your group, and your group believes whether they're red MAGA hat or whether they're black nationalists. What's true for them is true,
Mm,
but those two different people can come into a theater and see an affecting performance, someone who moves them, and another thought comes into play, another possibility comes into play. You're able to see someone in a different light, perhaps that you've never even
Mhm.
imagined
Mhm.
before, and it can turn their thought, or at least bring enough pause for them to reconsider their position. And that's the
mm,
beauty of what we do.
Oh,
mm,
That's the
mm,
beauty of what we do.
I am. This is. It's such an important art form because we do get a
Mm,
chance to influence people. Every time I hear someone say it's a violent film, or they say, "Oh, well, we have no control over what people do," or It's just a movie. No, everything speaks to people where they are. Everything inspires them in some way, gives them some idea, whether it's a comedy, whether it's a drama, no matter, and everything in between. It's the stories.
Right,
Everything comes from a human story based in some reality of emotion and feeling.
right. That's right. That's right.
Well,
That's right.
that's
You know.
how it was transmitted when fire was created. That's how
Mm-hmm.
we transmitted the
Mm.
truth and our emotions, our feelings, you know. And we didn't have, ostensibly, we didn't have words to communicate. We had to use our behavior. We had to use our attitude. We had to use our intention. We had to use our
Yeah.
grounding. We had to use feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, very important question that I thought about almost all day today. There's a stupid phrase, I think, that says, "Those who can't teach, those who do act." You've done both. It can't be true. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, how do you, or where, I guess my question is, where's the ratio for you, or is there one, between the mentoring, teaching resource that you are and the need to express yourself as the self generating artist?
um, you certainly have to find the balance, and I have at times been able to balance it well, and then there are times when I didn't balance it well, meaning that I taught for Milton Kinselas for like 30 years. And he was
Mm-hmm.
a mentor and, kind of other figure for me early on, then a friend, and then as I got, as both of our alpha maleness, came about, then, you know what I mean? and and uh and then it got a little rough around the edges there, but but I would drop everything to teach for him, and I would not. I mean, I could have an audition at 10 o'clock in the morning, and our classes would go from 7 till 11, 12, sometimes 1. We got through everything that was on the books, however long it took. And sometimes I would go home and I didn't have the luxury of time, as much time as I would have loved to have worked on the audition.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore the balance of fulfilling my responsibility versus taking care of myself, there have been times where the pendulum has swung back and forth, but I don't regret anything.
Mm-hmm.
um, I created what I created. I have had the blessing of being able to touch thousands of lives, because I started teaching in 1980, and we had large classes, like 100, 115 people in class. I would teach Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday, night and day. And then on
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, the master's class. So sometimes I would teach 9 classes a week. So it's a guesstimate, but I'm close to having taught close to 10,000 people over the course of that time. And and so the benefit of that is that I had an opportunity to see and touch a lot of very talented actors and brilliant actors: George Clooney, Michelle Pfeiffer, Patrick Swayze, Giovanni Ribisi, Roberts, Jenna Elfman, Jim Carrey, on and on and on and
Mm-hmm.
on. And and I still get letters from people today and phone calls. Just yesterday, it was like somebody said, "Hey man, it was Father's Day and I thought about you. And the truth is that you've been more of a father to me than my own father." And
Mm-hmm.
his father, and his father's father, and his father's father were all racists from the South, plantation owning, slave owning people. And, and then so I was able to touch this man's life and so many others' lives. And it's like whatever I missed in terms of the jobs that I might have been able to put a little bit more time in, I gained it elsewhere. So Mother, Father, God has dictated and has been my guide. Like I said, I'm on
Mm-hmm.
assignment. So I'm just following directions. And right now I'm focusing more on my own journey. I'm
Right.
creating my own stuff, and I'm expanding my ability to teach on a global level. I got some really cool things coming up,
Mm,
but I'll be teaching on a global level. So yeah, man, I'm so excited right now. I
mm.
I can't even begin to tell you.
And what
Well,
does that
that
look like? Are you Zooming? Are you where can anyone find out? Have you started this process yet for people to
I'm putting it together.
go ahead?
Yeah, I'm putting it together now in terms of building the infrastructure, so people will be able to come into my space that I provide and be able to, I mean, I've for 45 years. I've also run the drug education and training and treatment aftercare program for the National Basketball Association from 83 to 94. I set that whole program up, me and
Mm,
the people that I was working with. So I've dealt in the drug arena, you know, um, I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of life. I have a lot of knowledge. I've written a book. The book is out there, and so I'm just making. I've been so fortunate. I'm just making my knowledge and my experience available to people all over the world, and so people will be able to book time with me, and they'll be able to come in and say, "Hey, I'm working on this I'm working on this film and I need some help creating this character. Or, listen, I'm trying to create my career. I feel stuck.
mm,
Or, look, I got a family member that's got a drug problem, and how do I handle it? I'm an interventionist, and so I have a lot of knowledge. So I'm putting all of that in a menu of what people can come and get from me. And so, yeah, it's what I recognize
mm,
at this season of my life is that I want to do what I own and what I have control over. I don't want to sit and wait on said producer to give me a call and say, "Hey, we're going to put a pin." You know, you ain't putting a pin nowhere. I don't need a pin. Thank you for considering me. And if it happens, it's great. I mean, I'm not putting it down, not disrespecting it. But I don't want to wait in line for somebody else to say you're chosen.
and
I
tell you
want to
you've
I
got
create my
value.
own.
exactly, exactly.
Yes, right.
I hate that you even have to couch it like that. Quite honestly, I hate that you have to say, I'm no disparity. No, we should just take it. We should take it as gospel that this is what the man wants to do. This is what a human being chooses to do, and you shouldn't have to. I'm not saying you did apologize. I'm just saying I'm going through the same thing right now, and that's why my pure living theory and theoretical living theory is so strong in me. I don't know this about me.
Mhm,
Mhm.
Um, I, since I was 17 years old, I would look at something and go, "That's not right for me." Did I need the job? I
mhm,
guess I did.
Hmm.
I had rent and groceries
Yeah,
to pay and girlfriends I wanted to support. Um, but that wasn't why I was an actor. I was an actor
right.
for feeling, a sense, an essence, a calling. I mean, you're speaking to it. It's beyond.
you
And it
had
would
to.
drive me crazy when people would say, "Well, at least you're working." I'm like, "No, no, it's not about that. At least you got a job." No, it's not
Yeah,
about that. And so I'm in this place
yeah,
that you are, and I feel you resonate. Yes, my brother, do the
yeah,
thing that is for you to do. We have we have
yeah,
toed the line. We have put it in. You have done the duty. And now it's time for
yeah.
you to own yourself. I mean, truly,
Right,
and own your expression.
right.
And I'm in the same place, man. I wish you all the luck in the world. You deserve all of it, brother.
Thank you, thank you, thank you
Mhm,
so much. I
mhm,
appreciate it. And
mhm.
listen, anybody who can survive as long as we have, they've done a good
Right?
job. They
Hmm.
they've done a good job because there's a whole lot of people that we know
Mhm,
that were doing well along the way, and then something is like, whatever happened to what have you heard from,
mhm,
and because they took a midnight train to Georgia because it got to be too much. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
you have to take care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually
Come
in order to be
on.
able to
That's
sustain
right.
sustain this journey. This is a marathon. And and when you are down, it's really when you have to have the infrastructure starting with yourself to be able to grab yourself by the boot blacks, get up, process, pivot, and proceed
Move
so
on.
that you are not victim.
Come on.
Richard, there is K9, I'm going to get to your question. Richard, I saw an interview with you and you said one sentence and I use it for the title of today's show and that is no excites me. It turns me on. And with everything we're talking about, all of this sounds wonderful. But for those who are like, yeah, but I'm afraid what will people think about me? Or, I've had several auditions, I haven't booked anything, or they tell me I'm too short, I'm too wide, I'm too dark, I'm not. What do you say to those people?
But let me say it like I really say it, because I was on a Sherry show, so I couldn't say it like I want to say it.
You say
But
whichever you want here, brother.
the truth is,
Mhm.
no makes my dick hard. No
I
makes my
say,
dick hard. Tell me no.
huh?
You understand me? And you look, I play golf. Look, Phil and I were talking about golf. I play golf, and if I'm down like on 6, 7, 8, or 15, 16, 17, my partners say, don't look at him. Don't say shit. Don't piss him off. Do not wake him up because when I'm down, I'm dangerous. Because I've
Mhm.
had to survive this business all these years. And it's like, you can't, you know what I mean? It's like, there is no weakness. There is only opportunity. I know I had to learn how to make chicken shit into chicken salad.
Mhm.
I had to turn manure into fertilizer, and that's the name of this game. You got to process, pivot, and proceed. It's like I'm gonna find something good in anything. Coal turns into diamonds. And so
Mm-hmm.
therefore you've got to handle the twos. I've been to everything. Oh, he's too good looking for the part. Oh, he's too tall, or he's not black enough, or he doesn't have Negroid features. I did you Roots, they wouldn't I couldn't even get an audition for Roots because I looked too modern, too
Too
something. I didn't look like
refined.
I could have been a slave, too refined, and you're
Mm-hmm.
too something. This is
Mm-hmm.
why I understood long from the very beginning, you got to create your own. Hollywood is plan B. Plan A is the career that you
Come on.
invent. You have to invent your career. And it's in terms of your vision. One of the things that I do, and one of the things that I help people do, is to what is your dream? Let's start with that. What do you see for yourself? Not your kids, not your wife, not your family, none of that. Leave all of that aside. What is your dream? Once you understand what your dream is and you understand your postulates, your goal, first of all, your purpose, why, your postulates, your goals, your policies. You have to have policies to keep things in place. Your 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 plan, your administration plan. Once you understand that, then you can include other people in your dream. When you dream at night and you have a dream, it doesn't always include other people. It starts with you. You have to be clear about who you are, what you want, where you're going, and why.
Mhm.
Once you do that, then you can really you can lock in on what it's going to take for you to create your career. That's why what I'm doing right now is like, listen, you looked at the news, y'all seen the news, y'all know what's happened with me in the last two
Mm-hmm.
years. It's
Mm-hmm.
been the world knows that I've had the most public you, divorce you could ever imagine. It doesn't matter because of the fact that I take responsibility for myself. I'm 100% responsible. I'm not the only one responsible. Everybody engaged and involved with something is responsible, but I'm gonna be responsible for my part, and now it's like process, pivot, and proceed.
Come
You
on.
know what I
Come
mean? It
on.
ain't about getting down and and
Mm-hmm. Listen to him.
lamenting. It's like, okay, let's go.
Yo, yo, yo. This is the novel of your life. How do you want it written? How do you want it written? You want it written that because if you like novels, you like literature, you like music, you like drama. So your life's going to be dramatic. That's the way it is. Your life's a
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
movie. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you want your movie to be written? How do you want your novel to be written? You want it written that you fell down, you stayed down. You want it written
Yeah.
that
Right.
that you got punched in the face and you never recovered. Is that your story? So you're the writer.
Look.
What do you want it? How do you want it to go? There's that. There's also this. We
Yeah.
started the show with it's all perfect. I asked Richard about mentor teacher versus artistic expression, and he's like, it's all perfect. Basically, it's all perfect. You regret nothing because it all means something. Because if it wasn't perfect, guess
No.
what? It would be different. It would have happened differently. So you have to accept, and you have to then, that's what the pivot is. You accept where you are. We all go through challenges. We all go through,
Right.
your hard is your hard, right? I'll take my
Yeah.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
want your hard. That's for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even my business.
Yeah.
My business is my
Yeah.
business. And when I put my mind on it and I don't run away from it and I don't deny it, I
Yeah.
accept it. And
Yeah.
I am where I am standing. I am present in the
Yeah.
moment.
Right.
Answers will come to me.
Right.
I said this the other day. I
Right.
want you to hear. I'm going through some stuff. We're going through. Everybody going through stuff. And at the moment that I'm going through this particular stuff, I look at my phone. Now my phone has a beautiful, beautiful screensaver of a sunset. It's beautiful, beautiful. That was not on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
What was on the screen was the word be, be,
Mm-hmm.
and several
Mm-hmm.
definitions for the word be, which is be present in the moment, life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it came from. I looked at my screen again, it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Mm-hmm.
was just for me to understand when this shit is happening to you, which it is,
Mm-hmm.
just be, just live.
Life
Hey,
happens for
Shakespeare's
you, not to you.
right. To you,
Go.
it happens for you. Exactly.
We can say Shakespeare says what?
Look,
Which is
Okay,
hey,
go ahead.
Shakespeare said to be or
Or
not to
not
be.
to be. That is.
That is the motherfucking question.
Did he say
The,
motherfucking? I don't remember
yeah,
that.
he did. He did. You got to read the original. The
I gotta read
original,
the
some
original,
shit.
not the
I'm
edited
telling
one.
you,
That's right.
that dude
That's
is
right.
murders and
Hey,
killings, and
hey,
I
hey,
mean,
look, hey,
Right?
look. A lot of people edited William Shakespeare's stuff. You understand? That's why Othello. See, he wrote it in 1604. 1604. And it wasn't done until 1624, and there was a lot of people who edited it between then and then. So there probably was a motherfucker in Shakespeare's thing, but people cut that shit out.
That's right. There's a question here, Richard, from one of our
it didn't
wonderful.
play in the East End. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad. What
That's
up?
no, that's all right. K9 Richard, do you feel more actors should mentor, coach up and coming artists, creatives? Let me bring that back in here. Creatives, actors, etc. It seems like relationships truly create more concrete pathways.
Hey, listen, everything in this life is mentorship. You can't keep it unless you give it away.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
got to find somebody to give it to. I I have never said no to any young upstart actor because we were all upstarts at one point. I remember when I did Scream Blackula Scream, you know, they had people on that set that just took care of me, that was just poured into me. One brother said, I'm trying to think of his name. He said, let me tell you something, man. He said, this whole thing is about relationships. And so you see all these different departments, lighting, wardrobe, sound, hair, um, drivers. Get to know all the people in each of these departments because you will need them one day. You know what I mean? When you're going to be doing a movie one day, call them, stay in touch because this is all about contacts. This is how you create a relationship map. People told me that. People told me many other things. I sat down and played this game with the DP. He would come and put the light meter and you can't read it. And he asked for something else. And I'd always say, what is that? He said it was a 1, it was a 1 8, 2. is a 2 or 11, or he would tell me the numbers, and I learned how to read the light based upon the numbers he told me. Then eventually I started making bets with the DP. They put the meter in my face. I said, I bet I can tell you what it is. He said, no, you can't. I said, bet you $5. And I was right, because I learned that. And I learned that because somebody told me what to do. Give it away, and you'd
But you
be
also
surprised how much
asked.
the universe goes back.
Shoot.
Well, I did, but you do have to have some smarts with the process. You got to
Yes.
Yeah,
know
you got
how
to
to ask,
use the knowledge. It's responsibility.
use the knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah,
What were you gonna say,
yeah.
Autumn? What were
So
you gonna say?
yes, mentorship,
You asked.
mentorship
And
is
that's
everything.
it really is. It's in all aspects of our lives. I so agree with you. And also you ask. Sometimes people are afraid to ask. They're afraid to feel like they don't have the knowledge. Well, how do you get the knowledge if you don't ask? Not
Mm,
everybody's going to come to you and just pour into you just because. People do that, but it's so important to ask, which again takes us to taking responsibility for your life. How do you want
that's
it to
right. That's right.
go? It's the dreaming.
Yeah.
We have a man on here reminds us of our dad who had a single mother who had to get out there and I'm sure work earlier than you were supposed to. Had to do some things in his life, went into the military, did all of these things that he thought he was going to do, but stayed open to life. And too many times we
Yeah.
get closed in and I'm afraid. Well, that's
Right.
where courage comes in. Yeah, all of us are afraid. So take it by the reins and just keep going.
Right.
Dare to fuck up.
Hey,
Dare to
baby,
mess up.
you got listen.
Dare
The
to be
greatest thing that
wrong.
can happen to you is that you fail, 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 and fail again. And one day that shit gets right.
Hey,
It's like,
listen,
oh my
it
God.
it, it doesn't matter where you go. I'm a race car guy. I drive a lot of race cars. You understand your limit when you're over it, and there's no other way. Now you don't want to wreck the car. You don't want to wreck yourself, but that is the place that you find your limit. That's where you find where you really exist. So, and we used to have a
Right.
phrase when I was doing Mission Impossible with a guy named Teo Penglis, who's also a Milton Casella student, who you probably know really well.
He was. Yeah, yeah, I do know him very well. He was when I taught the master's class, he was one of the people in the class. He was
My
he was
guy.
he's been with Milton. Been with Milton since 1976.
Oh yeah, I'm
He was
I'm
there when
well
I was
versed
first
in the
there.
Milton Casellas hierarchy and legacy based on my relationship with him. Um, he's one of my
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good friends. I just love the cat. We used to have a
Awesome.
phrase when we were doing
Yeah.
mission. We were like, man, we got to try something they're not expecting because even if we try and we fall on our face, boom, when you get up, you're that much further forward. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? You've
Mm-hmm.
fallen down, and when you get up, you're never in the same place. You're always in a place of
Right. That's
revelation, understanding, learning.
yeah.
So yeah, the fuck ups are important. The martial arts is the same. I could go on and on about it. I didn't learn when I was good at it. I learned when I wasn't good at it
Come on,
because
baby.
it
You
showed me
weren't good
what I
at it.
needed to get there because I wasn't there.
Right.
That shows me where to go.
Right.
So don't be afraid of not being there.
That's
There's
right.
no shame in it. And I used to say
Yeah.
the dumbest question is the one you don't ask. So
Yeah.
I want to before you say anything.
One of the things.
Richard, before you say anything, I just want to bring this here. Please don't forget. But Kevin, let me use you. You know how I like to use people. I want to show this. Kevin says, "Know your limit. Stay within it." I'd like to hear from both of you what you think about that.
oh, yeah, okay, I've said it here before. If you're a person of integrity, your floor can only fall so far. You have integrity, so your floor can only fall so far, but your ceiling is limitless.
Mhm.
So why are you going to limit yourself?
Come on.
Only limit yourself to your integral floor. But when it comes to your imagination, your life, your fantasy life, your expressive life, don't put blocks on it. Surprise yourself, scare yourself, take the risk, take the ride, go for it. One of my greatest famous directors, Robert Altman, his autobiography is called Falling Off the Cliff. Maybe it's called Jumping Off the Cliff. Knowing him, it's probably jumping off the cliff. Because every time he started a movie, that's what he felt. Where am I going to land? One of the greatest directors of all time didn't know where he was going to land. Couldn't wait for that feeling. So don't play safe with yourself. Choose life, man. Life ain't safe. We weren't born safely. It came from a lot of shit. Your mother went through a lot of shit to bear you. So don't live safe. Live life with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I, I think it's interesting in terms of when you have grown up in a world, um, your limits are usually dictated by the people who love you because they don't
Mm,
want you to make the same mistakes they did. And so you're living through someone else's consideration. You, you know, I look, I'm 78 years old. That's the only amount of time that I've been on this earth. I don't know what that means otherwise. I'm not interested because I don't know my limits. I push everything that feels like a limit. I'm pushing past it. I'm pushing through it, and I want to be able to create, places that is beyond expectation, beyond my own, because I'm trying something new and I understand that I'll figure it out because all I have to do is ask the next question. Just ask the next question, and it's going to push you through wherever your comfort zone is. So your limits for most people is like the edge of your comfort zone. And when you go past that, it hurts, it's painful, you have doubts, but don't stop. Just ask the next question. So if it's writing and the writer says the character's drunk, it's like, how drunk? How many drinks? What are they drinking?
mhm,
Why are they drinking? What kind of drunk are they? And you keep asking that question, and pretty soon you have a fully realized character who happens to be drunk rather than stopping at limits. I don't understand limits.
mhm,
And so therefore, and I don't have limits myself. I'm looking to see
mhm.
where else I can go.
I knew you guys would respond that way. And Kevin, thank you for giving that comment because we're all three about what limits. No, no, and I think limits are dictated to you by other people who 9 chances out of 10 do not know you. Yes, your family as well, but then from the outside, there can be racial limits put upon us, depending on what sex are you put upon you. Don't let that, even your own thoughts. And Kevin, you said if I go past my limits, things go bad. Well, shoot, maybe you're trying something new and it's tough. And I don't want you to do anything that's going to
Hmm.
hurt yourself spiritually, within your minds or your soul or your body. But everyone, remember, you are limitless in what you can do. The only limits you have
Right.
is what you put on yourself. Don't constrain you. You don't know what you could do.
No. You guys are speaking to it. There's a great scene in a documentary called Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry
Mm,
Seinfeld, and then a young comedian named Orny Adams, who's much older now, are backstage, and it's kind of a twofer. It's two-hander. It's Jerry, this incredible established comedian, $300 million a year guy, versus this new and upcoming comedian, right? And he has this moment, Orny, and he comes to Jerry backstage. He's like, "Man, I got to talk to you." Jerry's like, "What is it? What's going on?" He goes, "My girlfriend, she's asking me, how long am I going to be doing this? My parents was just asking me when I'm going to get a real job. It's like, it's tough, man. I mean, what am I going to do?" Jerry looks at him like
mm,
stone faced and says, "Are you kidding me? Are you doing this for your parents? You
mhm,
doing this for your girlfriend?"
mhm,
Because if you're not doing this because this is the only thing you know to do, or this is what you have to do, you better go find what you need to be doing. I'm not doing this for
Yeah.
anybody but me
that's
and
right.
the joke.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
so
That's right.
prescient. I mean, that's why that dude's 300 million a year. You know what I mean? So the people that you admire, know the people you admire, whether they're biblical, whether they're real, whether they're heroic, even in comic books, are risking life and limb. They risk their lives
Mhm.
to bring you everything. The greatest artists in the world risk their lives to bring you great art.
Right.
They're not playing safe. They don't
Yeah.
know safe.
No.
Uh,
No. No.
so
Say.
one of the people I used to sit with, Sadhguru, would say, people come to me and they want their lives placid. and peaceful and easy. And I asked them,
Mm.
"What's your favorite movie?" Oh, I love John Wick. Oh, oh, what's your favorite book? Oh, I love Shibumi. Hmm. What kind of music you listen to? Acid rock. But you want your life to be acid and easy. No, live your life like you stole it, man. You've heard all these phrases, so don't fall for the okey doke. Don't fall for it. Don't drink Kool
That's
Aid.
right.
You know what I mean? Listen to
Yeah,
Richard
that's right.
Lawson and the goddess Iona Morris Jackson, man. They know what's happening.
Exactly, exactly. Look, you don't get to this place in life, being afraid. You know what I mean? Being scared. You don't
Mm-mm,
get to this life. It's you,
mm-mm.
you get here, and it's because you have been through the wars. The thing. And I got to remember this. I got to look up this person's name, but there's a famous picture of an enslaved black man that you're looking at him from the back, and you see all these
I've
stripes
seen it.
on his
I've
back
seen it.
where he
I've
had
seen that.
whips and whips and whips. It's like what you don't see if a actor's been in this business for 40, 50 years, you don't see those whips on his back. But we've had them, you know what I mean? And it's like I wouldn't trade it, I wouldn't trade one of them to go for any sort of comfort going forward, because I live
Earned every one of
dangerously.
them. You earned every one of them.
Absolutely.
You
What is it, Richard, that
earned every
keeps
one
you
of them.
go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Were
No,
you gonna
no, no. Listen.
what is it that keeps you going? Okay, let's say I hear you say no fear. I hear being courageous. I hear to keep going forward. But let's say that I'm I'm afraid. I don't know how to move forward. I feel like Kevin here that I have limits. What is it that you've done so when the no's happen or something negative, challenging in your life happens, what keeps you moving forward?
Well, you have to understand that this is not a solo journey. This is a group. This is a group activity. You know, you need a culture. You need a community.
Mm,
You need to create a community. You need to have people who are like-minded in they're on their own journey and you're on your own journey, but you're like-minded to get there. You need people around you. When you one of the first things I look for is whether this is a desire when I'm looking at a new actor. Is this a desire or is this something you can't live without?
mm,
If it's something you can't live without, and you get other people around you that can't live without it, you understand what it takes in order to travel this road. And you understand what it takes to be empathetic and supportive of someone else's journey. And you're holding people accountable. I see the interplay and interchange between you and your brother. I already can see that through the years, the amount of support that you all have had for each other, even if you had bad patches. But there is something that you all love and appreciate and have fun together. It takes a community like that. You have to one of the things that I teach people is that you have to know who's on your bus. When you look at your grandparents, dead or alive, parents, dead or alive, your significant others, your siblings, your children, your friends, your neighborhood, your ethnicity, your gender, your mortgage, your animals, your pets, your 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 uh, your team of people, representatives, your church, your religiosity, and you look at who what is your exchange with each of these people. You have to be able to define who they are on your bus, whether they are and what your exchange is with them. So there's four levels of exchange: criminal exchange, people who stealing from you; unequal exchange, people who bring less than they take more than they bring; people equal exchange, that speaks for itself; and people who exchange in abundance, they always bring more than expected. And if you identify each one of these people, you'll identify who the haters are. And if you can't change their viewpoint, they got to go. You got
Mm-hmm.
to identify who are the people who are not bringing, they're taking more. You got to handle those people. You got to bring them up at least to an equal exchange through communication or carefrontation so that you have a healthy, clean bus. That's the only way you can survive this journey. It's in terms of you got to identify who the negative niggas are and you got to get them out.
Mm,
And that's
mm.
not all black people. That is a
Yo, that's
No,
universal
it ain't got
word.
nothing.
yo, no.
It ain't got nothing to
Mm-mm.
do with color. It ain't got
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
nothing to do with color.
Mm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And if y'all
Uh,
were black, you would know that. No, I'm kidding. You know when it's you know when it's targeted, and you know when it's an umbrella.
that is wow. That's
Which is so true, so true. I mean, it's exactly right. I mean, Ione and I, we call each other. I mean, I'll give you the most current example is her play. When I
mhm.
saw her after the play, how were we? We're like, we're so good. I just okay. You know what I mean? Which we are, basically, in the lobby of this theater after having seen the play she's directed. We're like, you're so good. I mean, everybody was gone at that point. Silence was over the two of us,
Yeah,
and we have that. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the village that I have that we created.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
coming
That's
from this business, man, it ain't no bargain.
And
You
you
know,
need
being
it.
it. Ain't
legacy,
no bargain.
it ain't easy,
Mm-mm.
Bleezy. So I'm
It
really
ain't.
honored.
Listen, look at this is a town transactional relationships.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's you when you recognize, you better be able to recognize where your transactional relationships lie and make sure that you create a tribe of people who are really in your village, and they support the village and they bring stuff to the village and they make the village a happier place. When
Mhm.
you got people on your bus and they back there with their arms crossed saying, when are we ain't there yet?
Whew,
Mhm.
You know, when are we gonna get there?
whew.
Mhm.
You know, it's like it's
Time for you to
yeah.
go. This is your stop.
Exactly.
Um,
Hey,
Richard, I want to just point out a couple of things to everyone. You mentioned your book, The Artist's Roadmap Navigating Your Career in Show
yeah,
Business by Richard Lawson. You can get that at Amazon. And I haven't read it, but I know it's a wonderful, inspiring book. You've spoken so much to us in this time about life. I also want to mention that you have a series. It's in its second season. Look at those gorgeous girls there on Netflix. Beauty
gorgeous.
in Black season. And this is Tyler Perry.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
that's correct. Yeah,
Wonderful on
yeah,
Netflix. And you've just
yeah.
done such incredible, incredible work. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, yes. We always ask our guests, um, we're going to wrap up our beautiful conversation with you, Richard. And we ask our guests, as well as Phil and I will later on, to please leave us with some pearls of wisdom of you've given us so much, but in a nutshell or something else you've thought of where you can share with us about what you want to leave us with to inspire.
The first thing, there's a couple things I'll say. One is dreams don't have expiration dates. It ain't never too late. Never too late. Never too late. You know, take a look and look at what your dream is, and you can change anything. It's never too late. Marla Gibbs didn't start acting until she was 42, and she got the Jeffersons at 44. And she has never stopped working. She ain't never looked back, so it ain't too late. The other thing that I would say is do your best and forget the rest. Just show up and do the best that you can do, and then let that be what it is, because it ain't gonna be the same tomorrow. I don't give a shit if you do a show 8 shows a week. Tuesday is not gonna be like Wednesday. Show up and do your best. and then leave it and let it, because once you finish it, it doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to the audience. You know what I mean? It's like you just never know. Let me share something that was just I was just writing. I'm writing my memoir, and I was just writing about this today. So so I was doing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and it was we were killing it down at the Los Angeles Theater Center, and I got a Drama Critics Award for that, right? So there's a part where Levy, they talking about Levy's talking shit, and they were talking about God. He said, God, there ain't no God. Where is God? When my mama got raped by them white man on that railroad track, where the hell was God? Where was God then? Huh? He pulls out his knife and said, don't tell me nothing about God. And he starts cutting in the air. I would cut that motherfucker. And he does this whole thing. People in the back audience backed up like, whoa, let me get away from this lightning strike. You know, Play was over. I went in the lobby, and this woman came up to me and she said, "Oh my God!" She said, "You were so good. You just broke my heart. Oh my God! I want to give you a big hug." She said, "But just do me one favor." Oh, but I forgot to tell you that one of the things that I did in the performance, I pulled my pants down and I mooned. I said, "God can kiss my black ass," and I pulled my pants down so they saw my ass, right? So in the lobby, the woman said, cry, cry, cry. And then she said, but just one thing. If you're going to pull your pants down, put some lotion on your ass.
Ah! Hilarious.
Final word. Use your lotion. Be prepared. Richard, before you go, let me just leave this with everyone. This is where you can find Richard Lawson on Instagram, TikTok, and here is his website information, richardlawsonenterprises.com. Check this man out. He's amazing. Richard, we are so glad that you came to us tonight. Thank you. Oh, you're on mute. I lost you somewhere.
Oh, I don't know how I did that. But thank you so much. God bless both of you. It's a wonderful show. I had a lot of fun, and I'm coming on Saturday.
I got you. I
You
got
the
2 tickets
man.
down for you, my love.
Thank you,
All
brother.
right,
Thanks
I'll
for
be there. What time?
sharing.
What
Thanks
time?
for
What
sharing your
time?
heart.
What time is the show?
I think it's
Thank you
7,
so
but
much.
I'm gonna text you and I'll confirm for you,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Good
God
night,
bless you.
darling.
God bless
Take care,
you.
brother.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Mhm.
Whoo, wow, that was wonderful. He's refreshing. So honest, so bold, so dynamic. Love it. What'd you think, Phil?
That was great. I'm not going to critique it. It was in
I
critics'
know.
corner. Of course, the man was. We had a great time. It was good. There was a lot of thought, a lot of food for thought there. So,
A
um,
lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Before we go, let me just put this up here just for a little bit right here, just so you know where to find Phil. Everyone, the vision is possible. You find about the Phil Morris. This is where you can find moi. I own a lot of gold. You got that little play on words? And this is where you can find our show. So glad to have all of you here with us. And then I'm going to come on back. Hey, Philly Willie. Would you like to give us some final words, my love?
I think I've said it tonight. You know what I
I,
mean? I
I'm
don't want to overdo it. I,
feeling the
yeah, you
same.
guys heard what we feel, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't have any special button.
I I was sitting here thinking about that myself. I don't either. Just have a really incredible week, everyone, and we'll see you again on Wednesday, 6 o'clock here on youtube.com/ at the vision is possible. Have a wonderful dinner, Phil. And like I always
Thank
like to
you.
say, night, Philly.
Night, Ona. Take care, y'all. When I get back from Indiana.
That's our. Oh, have you know what? Above all, I know you will. Have a good time, baby.
Will do. Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.